Right, so you've installed Thunderstore, you've played a bunch of modded games, now you're really excited to make your own cards or your own sigils or masks and things like that. So the next thing that you want to start to do is, first of all, you want to get a lot of information. How do you actually do a bunch of this stuff? Well, thankfully you've come to this video of me, this random idiot, telling you how to do things. But if you do want to learn a lot more, there is a Inscryption Modding Discord that you can jump onto. There's a lot of really nice, helpful people in here that can answer some of your questions. But hopefully you can learn a lot more from this video before jumping straight in and just asking how do you make a thing. Because majority of the people on there will just direct you to like the JSONLoader here, and then go to the pins. And then there'll be a bunch of links in here that you can easily go through and get an idea of what you need to do. But in this video, let's take a look at making a new card for you, so that way you can start getting an idea of, so you can start making your own stuff, essentially. So when you're installing mods, you might have actually noticed that there'll be a bunch of stuff that you have to install, and a lot of them are just random. They don't quite make sense. One of those is the JSON card loader. This one here, JSON, however you want to say it. So what this does is it allows you to create just a little text file on your computer and put the information of your card in it, as well as like an image, and then it will appear in the game. You don't need to learn how to code, you don't need to install other programs. It just makes it that much easier for you to do stuff. So, how do we even use this JSON? Is the next question, right? So over here in the Discord, there's a lot of these pins in here, which will be very useful for you down the line. So one of them is the cards gel DR2 here. So if we were to click on that, then it'll bring up this big form, and this will be very overwhelming at first, but once you get an idea of it, it'll just make it so much easier for you in the long run, trust me. So this is where we just get to fill out a bunch of the information for our card, and we just save this to a file, and then we get to actually see it in the game. So I'll try and explain as much of these as possible. I might jump over a few of them just because the nerves of making a video. But a lot of them do have good descriptions as well that tell you what you actually need and what these are for. So let's go through and make ourselves an example. So let's give a name for our card. This can be anything. It doesn't have to be the actual thing that appears on the card. So let's make a Urayuli child. Or Urayuli Ling. I don't know if that's how you spell it, anyway. Okay, so that's all the card name is going to be. We need a modPrefix to turn that on. My mod is going to be James's sweet mod. That's fine. That's just something to connect all your different cards together down the line. Display name, this is what will actually display on the card. I'm going to use the same thing up here, but this can literally be anything, and the name that appears on the card will be different. Description, this is what Leshy says the first time it actually appears in front of you. So we'll be like, oh my, what a young one he is. Whatever, I don't know. Used to categorize the card groups. Yeah, so let's chuck in one of these. So that way we can go and decide, how does the player actually get this card? You know, where do they get it from? So there's the choice nodes. These are the little things in Leshy's, what's it called? Leshy's or PO3s, where they give you 3 cards and you flip them over and you choose one of them. Trade offer is where you give them a pelt, and in exchange, Leshy gives you like 6 different cards. Part 3 random, I actually don't know, but I assume is very similar to the choice node. Rare is you kill a boss, Leshy gives you a rare card. I think it's the same in PO3 as well. If you're looking for Act 2 stuff, I know nothing about Act 2, but that's what GBC is. That's related to Act 2. So there should be a little bit of information about that around, but I'm sure you'll better figure it out. Anyway, I'm going to make this just choice node because it's a baby, so you only get it through the 3 choice nodes. Complexity, you can pretty much ignore this, but I'm going to put it as vanilla anyway. Temple is this PO3 or is this Leshy or whatever. So nature is Leshy, tech is PO3, undead is Grimora, and wizard is Magnificus. So we're going to go with nature. Base attack. Okay, so this one is... What should we give this? So we got our Uraruru, which is a 7/7. I'm going to make this a baby, so maybe make it like a 2/2. Yeah, maybe make it a 2/2. And then later on we can make it evolve into something else after a single turn. Something along those lines. Hide, attack, and health. We don't want that. That would only be if... I think you're using something like ants, where instead of it showing your damage, it shows something else. I could be mistaken there, unless it's for terrain cards. Play around with this one, and you should be able to figure it out. Blood costs, so how much blood does it cost to actually use this? I'm going to make this a 2 blood, or should I make it a 3? No, let's make it a 2 blood. Yeah, make this one a 2 blood. Because Uraruru is 4. So we'll make that a 2. Why not? Bone cost, yeah, how many bones does this cost? You can have all 3 of these on at once, including the energy cost as well. That there is a API specific thing, just as what you saw before. The API mod here just adds so many more fixes and additions into Inscryption that the base game just does not have. So thankfully the API devs added that for us. Not tooting my own horn at all. It definitely was not all me. By no means. Okay, anyway. Bones, I don't want any bones. Energy cost, I don't want any energy cost because this is just leshy. I don't want to put those in. Gem cost as well. Don't want any gem cost. SpecialStatIcon, I don't want those either. But these are just the icon that appear on the card for like the attack or health and stuff like that. So you see I've got like the mirror, the sacrifices per turn, which is the... I actually don't know what the card is. I hate that card. But same for bones, which is the Limageiger, I think it's called. Cards in hand, which is the tentacle. There's another tentacle, another tentacle in the ants, of course. So I'm going to take that off for now. Tribes, these are probably pretty explanatory, but the different tribes that you get, like the totem tops. You can put as many of these on as you want. You can put all of them on. I'm not going to put any because this is a Uraruru, so I'm just going to turn that off. Traits. These are very interesting. So these are all things that affect the card kind of secretly that you wouldn't actually know. Like ant is the damage goes up according to how many ants are on the board. I don't know what bear is. Blind. I forget what most of these are, but the most ones I worry about are kill survivors. So if the campfire destroys your card, then it kills the survivors, so they're not always there. Pelts, I don't think that's ever actually used. Terrain cards can't be sacrificed. Uncuttable can't be cut with scissors. A giant card, this one I believe is very broken and it's only meant for very specific cards. But there should be a lot more stuff in here, of which I should have brought up prior, but there is Enum Wiki, I believe this is it. See if this bad. Yes, here we are. Perfect. This is exactly what we needed. So if you want any more information about what anything is on this page while making your card, go to this one here, and it'll be on the Discord, just underneath the all enums. And this will give you a whole bunch of information about everything. Yeah, a whole lot of stuff, just to give you an idea of what things actually are. But I'm not going to add any traits to this because I don't want to add anything to it. So let's take that out. Special abilities. These are mostly used for rare cards, I believe. But these are sigils, but they're kind of hidden and they can't be transferred from a card. Like Ouroboros is a very known one where, you know, every time the card dies, it gains 1 damage and 1 health. And that happens every time. But you can't transfer that to something else. So that's up to you if you want to put on any or all of these just to see what actually happens. Abilities, this one here is sigils in the game. So if you want to add anything on here like Corpse Eater or Fledgling, which we actually do want to add in, it's called Evolve. If we would go Evolve, it should be called Fledgling. Well, the name in the game is called Fledgling, but here it's called Evolve. So if you are wondering why you can't find Fledgling or anything in here, jump in here for the abilities and have a search through to see if there's one that sounds similar to the description that is in the rulebook, I believe it is, like Bristle. That might be the same name, I don't know. They get changed around once the game got localized. Yeah. Anyway, so we got Evolve for our one here. So this guy is going to turn into an Urayuli. Oh god, oh god. Yeah, it's not there. Okay, fantastic. I found it. So we go to the Discord. Over here there is one for where is it? This one here. So the enums list. And then we can go back to the wiki. Oh, sorry. Click this one up the top here. And then it has a cardnames.md. And then we have ourselves a nice big list of all the names of the card and the actual display name. So, like my Urayuli here is actually there, and the same for like the different ones like the Warren, and then we have the Wolverine, the Wolf Cub. It's not actually Wolf Space Cub, it's actually Wolf Cub. It's very case sensitive, so you have to write the correct one. So I'm going to grab this one here from the left column, which I am assuming is the encode name. Yep, that's the one. So we're going to check that into here. You're going to evolve after one turn. Default evolve name comes after evolving if it doesn't have defined evolution. We can ignore this one because we defined it there. tailName. So this one here is if you want to, you know, when you put the skink sigil onto a card, and then someone tries to hit that card, and then the skink will move away from that slot and leave behind a tail. That there is a very specific card that it leaves behind. So if you want to turn that into something else, you can. I could technically actually just turn this into an Urayuli as well. So that way, as soon as it tries to get hit, it will leave behind this. But you need to have that specific sigil on the card for this to actually work. And of course, if you want to have a very specific portrait for this card, when it loses its tail. So we could have like a baby Urayuli, maybe it loses an eye or something like that, and the eye becomes the tail. Okay, iceCubeName. So this one here is if you have the iceCube sigil on the card and something kills this card, it will put this card in its place. Straightforward. And flipPortraitForStrafe. So this one here is, you know, for the cards that have the, well, what's it called? I think it's called Strafe. And of course I lost it as well. Here we go, Strafe. Yeah, if you have like the Strafe or the Strafe Push cards, you know, that moves the card after it takes a turn. We want to know if we want to flip the portrait depending on the direction that it moves. It's completely up to you. I'm not going to bother because this card doesn't have anything. And I'm planning to just draw a basic portrait for it. Which isn't going to be facing left or right. It's just going to be a real crappy drawing anyway. Okay, so onePerDeck. So some cards you can only get once. Or have one at a time. So that would be like... what is it? I think the Stoat, like a talking Stoat, and the card that has the three blood sigil on it. I know people are screaming at me right now, but that's the best I can come up with on the spot. But yeah, if you only want one of these in the deck, then set that to true. If you want people to have 30 of these in your deck, It's fine. Pardon me. Okay. Appearance behavior. So if you want to give your card like a special look, then you can chuck these in. So examples of these are like gold emissions. That would be like the gold pelt or the golden nugget that the prospector whacks your cards with and turns them into a nugget. It'd be that. If you want to give it like, if your card is rare, then you want to give it a rare background as well. Things like the terrain background. So if your card can't be sacrificed, then change it to terrain background, just so that way people know that they can't sacrifice the card. And then there's a whole bunch of other ones too. I don't actually know what majority of these do. I mainly just use those few anyway. Okay. Texture. So this was the name of the texture that we're going to be using for our card. So we have to create a separate image for this. So what I'm going to do is grab that and chuck it there for now. And we need to call it a .png. Thank you for that. And the next thing is, actually, before we do that, apologies. So make sure that when you're creating your portrait, it is a 1114 by 96 dimensions. Otherwise, your image is going to be off the card looking weird and stuff like that, along with the transparent background. But we'll be getting to that one in the next video at least. Emission. So when your card has a sigil on it, like you transfer a sigil onto your card, it has like a little glow on it. That's an emission. And this is just a white and transparent image. I believe people do it differently. The way I'll be showing it will be very odd. So I hope someone else does a better image. But ideally you want this to be a separate image. So I'm going to change it to _emit, which would be a separate thing. altTexture. So if you recall, in Act 1, you get to put in a different eye, I believe. Yeah, you put in a different eye, which is the goat eye, and then some cards will have a different image on them. That's called an altTexture, so you can easily chuck one of those in along with it in emission, so that way it gets a little bit more uniqueness. And these are all for Act 1 too. Same for the alt emission texture. If you're making something for Act 2, then you want to use your pixelTexture, which is a 41 by 28, so that's much smaller. So make sure you get those correct. But this is also actually used as an icon for the challenge, or for the packs, I believe. Yeah, for the pack, when you're choosing which deck you want to use, it shows a little icon of the cards that you get. It shows the pixelTexture. So if you're in Act 1 in Casey's mod, then the chances are you'll need like those and then a pixelTexture. But if you're in Act 2, you only want to be using this one here. Great. Title graphic. I have no idea what this is, so I'm not even going to try to explain it. I've never used it ever actually, so we can bypass this. Decals. So these are just like extra overlays that you can put on top of your card. Think of the blood from the, I think it's the bait bucket, and the texture that Goobit splats all over your card after he copies your card. Those are decals. They just get overlaid over a texture. So if you want to create something extra like the smoke as well, you can put those on and then put that on multiple cards too. You can have multiple decals too. Extension properties, you can ignore this. These are kind of just extra stuff if you really want it for your modding example. Yeah, sorry. You can ignore this. That's it. Later on might be useful. But this is fantastic. So we've essentially gone through every single field now. And I hope that you've got a good idea of all the stuff that you need for your card. Now, the next thing that you want to do is up here, click the update form, and you can see it fills out like all this stuff here. So you see the name is Urayuli Ling, and then the mod prefix, the description, how we get it, how often that is, the temple, and then we've got our 222 and our fledgling ability, what it turns into after one turn, the image, the emission image, And that's it. That's all we really needed for that. So what we're going to do there is we're going to copy that, right click and click that. And now we want to go back to Thunderstore or to R2 Modman, and we're going to go settings and click the one that says browse data folder. This will bring up a new folder for us, and we want to go into Inscryption, profiles, default, BepInEx, plugins. And this here, you'll see there's a whole bunch of the mods that you have actually installed. You can see, like, if we were to go my mods, there's a whole bunch of mods in here that I've got. Even if they're actually disabled, it still has the files on my computer. It's just labeled them with .old, so that way the game doesn't load them. So if you don't have much memory on your computer, be sure to uninstall and not just disable. It'll just save you so much more space. Anyway, so we want to create our mod. Great. So what I call my mod was James's sweet mod. I'm going to copy that. And let's go and create a new folder. Go into that. And now we want to come into here and we want to create a new text file. Let's call this one our, what is it? Go back here, Urayuli Ling. But we're going to call it a .jldr2. Just like that. Are you sure you want to do that? Yeah, I do. And then we want to open that one up. I'll open that one up with Notepad. Here we are. And then we just want to go and paste all of the stuff in that we copied previously. And paste. And there we go. Now the game should load up our card into the game. But we need to have our image. We haven't got an image yet. So we're going to do that in the next video.